Hi again. My name is Cozy and I'm the Children's Ministry Director here at Ocean Hills, and this is a training video on how to manage behavior and classrooms in our K through 4th program. So we are going to say that to set you up for success, there are a few things you can do. One, decide on who's going to be leading the activities and who's going to be the kind of classroom manager. So it's really challenging to be leading a activity and also be needing to manage the behavior. So make sure that before you start an activity where it might be a little bit more structured, that you communicate with your teacher like, okay, you're doing the classroom management part right now. And so that's really a very helpful thing. So right off the bat, this is a relational issue. The more trust you build with these K through 4th graders, the more likely you are going to have success in your classroom management techniques. So know their names, know things about them. They are so much more likely to respect you and listen to you if they feel cared and known by you. So some other things right off the bat that you can do that will help you manage the behavior of your students is to model the behavior that we want. If you are participating in worship, if you are participating in family circle, if you are respecting and not talking during the other kids talking, if you are being positive and encouraging, they will want to be like you. There's a reason that I have asked you to do this. Kids are going to respond to you. They want to have a relationship with you. God is going to use you. So let's model the behavior that we want from them, and that will allow them to get the most out of the program. The second thing is to positively reinforce them when they do the behavior that we want. So saying, great job participating in this game. I know you weren't super excited about it at first, but great job for trying. Or thank you so much for doing that when I asked you to do it. That was so nice. I really appreciated that. Positively reinforcing their good behavior will allow them to be encouraged, one, and two, the other students will want to participate in that way as well. The other thing is, like I said, know their names. It is so important that we know their names. If we can respond to them personally, that is going to go so far in how we are able to manage the behavior in our classroom. So the other thing is making sure that we are really consistent about our kids knowing what the expectations are. And so we have, I think, 5 expectations that we say over and over again that help our kids know what is expected of them. So there's no ambiguity about what kind of behavior we're looking for in OKids. So the first one is being kind and inclusive to others. That is a foundation of OKids. It is a foundation of us as believers and followers of Jesus, that we want to be kind like our good Father and inclusive like Jesus. So that is one of the things that we really want our kids to learn how to do and see and experience in OKids, is kindness and inclusiveness. The other one is positive and encouraging talk only. So a really kind of interactive way to get the kids to participate in positive and negative talk expectations is to give them examples. You can say, all right, thumbs up. And then you can say, I really love free play. That's positive. This activity is boring. Miss Cozy, you're really fast in our game. Great job. That person's so slow. So you see, it gives them kind of an idea of what's positive and negative talk and what's okay in OKids. I have also seen this play out peer-to-peer. There will be a kid who's maybe saying something a little negative, and the other kid has a signal like, hey, that's kind of negative, you know? it allows them to almost peer correct one another in a way that's not, hey, that's negative. And so this allows for us to give the feeling of a positive and encouraging community. The third thing that an expectation that we have, or a way for them to self-correct, is we say, is this the right time to talk? So we want our kids to participate. We want them to share. But there are certain moments in our program where it's not the right time. And we want to give them a moment to self-reflect and go, oh, this is not one of those times. So we say, hey, is this the right time to talk? And they can go, oh, no. And so instead of us having to go, shh, or be quiet, they can actually, for themselves, correct themselves, which is really high value. The other thing is showing respect with your body. We have come up with a call and response. It goes hands and feet to yourself. So that's another way to implement this kind of on the spot. If you're seeing some rowdy behavior, instead of saying show respect with your body, you can say hands and feet to yourself, and they kind of all get that. So we can continually be implementing those things. The last thing is participate. A lot of our kids are hesitant to participate in the very beginning, so we want to encourage them to try before you say no, thank you. And if they know that, it's not a big deal. They know that we want them to try, and they actually have the freedom to try things that maybe they wouldn't have tried if that wasn't an expectation that we had for them. So those are our expectations. Now, our children are not perfect. We're not perfect. They're going to fall short. And so what do we do when our kids are not exhibiting the behaviors and meeting our expectations of behavior? So we kind of have a step, and it escalates as the behavior continues. So the first step would just be a simple hand on the shoulder. You don't need to verbally respond or say anything. It's just a, hey, I see this behavior, and you know that I don't approve of this, and this is not what O Kids is about. And hopefully that gives them, like I said, a moment to self-reflect and change the behavior without us having to say, stop doing that or do something different. They have the will to actually change their behavior to a positive behavior. So then the second thing is, again, placing the hand on the shoulder and then asking them, is this the right time to blank? So you can use that question for more than just talking. So a lot of times it is talking, or is this the right time to be drawing attention to yourself? Is this the right time to be silly? Is this the right time to be playing with your lanyard? Again, it's giving them the chance to self-reflect before we have to say, you know? So that is the next level. Now, very rarely the behavior will continue, and that is when you want to graciously remove the kid from the group. So what I do, in order to remain too deep while also removing the kid from the group so they don't feel embarrassed, is that I stand in the doorway or crouch or kneel in the doorway, and then I have the kid just right on the other side. So the students can't see them, but the other teacher can see me. And I'm going to talk very quietly, so the rest of the group doesn't need to hear me talking to this child. So what I'm going to ask them is, I'm going to ask, do you know why we're out here together? And they'll probably say no. And so you're going to have to set the scene for them. You're going to have to remind them why they're out here. So remember, one of our expectations is we ask ourselves, is it the right time to talk? And we show respect with our bodies. So in worship, do you think you were meeting those expectations? Do you think you were doing that? And they'll probably go, no. And like, that's okay, that happens sometimes. What do you think you can do next time to maybe talk at the right time or show respect with your body? And then maybe we'll give an example. And if not, if they're kind of like, help them along in that process. The point is that we want them to know that we want them to have fun. So say, hey, I really want you to have fun, and these expectations are how we all do that. The more people that follow the expectations, the more fun we can have, the more we can learn about God, the more we can learn about ourselves and who God made us to be and what it looks like to follow Jesus with our whole lives. So we really want to emphasize that these expectations are how we have have fun. And so once you've come up with a plan for the future behavior, really end on an affirming note. Like, hey, I really love when you come to O Kids. It's so fun kicking the ball against the wall in the quad and playing before we start. I'm so glad that you're here. I know you're gonna do just fine. You're gonna do great next time. Maybe give them a high five, and if you have a special relationship, a side hug, and just make sure that they know that they are still loved and cared for by you, that this doesn't change their relationship with you. So that is really ending on a positive note. And I promise that if you implement these things, I promise it will come out over time. The kids will want to please you. That relational piece will be the foundation of your classroom management. So that was kind of like a globe scenario. So when you're kind of removing the kid, but in a classroom, one thing that I really suggest is that you delegate. So the two roles, there's a facilitator of an activity, the one who is maybe facilitating family circle or the activity or the pray and dismiss time, and the other person is modeling participation. Well, in that case, the person who's modeling participation is also kind of the main classroom manager at that point. So I don't want the facilitator interrupting what they're doing with the group and having to say, is this the right time to talk to a student? That actually should be the other person. So whoever's not facilitating is the one that is holding the responsibility for managing the behavior in the room. And so they're the ones that maybe have to get up and place the hand on the shoulder or ask, hey, is this the right time? And so that really is an important part of how we do this well, is communicating with your teacher who is responsible for what. And if you are not leading the activity, you need to take on that responsibility of managing the classroom behavior while the other person is working hard at facilitating what's happening in the group. So I think that if you guys implement those things and you just stick with it and get to know your kids, the main thing is we want to show them who Jesus is by the way that we treat them. And there is so much opportunity for grace and love and kindness in the way that we modify their behavior. So keep that in mind. This is not about getting them to behave a certain way. It's helping them have fun. It's helping them experience who God is in our God family and O Kids. And like I said, it's such an opportunity to be different than the world. The world is going to tell them, don't do this, don't do that. You should do this better or this faster. But for us, we want them to know that they are known and loved because of who they are, and we want something better for them. So I hope this is helpful, and have a great time with your K through 4th graders.